Hello little buns, it is Steph. Welcome back to my home. I have something a little bit less delicate and lovely for you today. So I want to tell you the story about a time I almost beat a man up. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be great. Before you start thinking that maybe it had something to do with the transphobe, or maybe I was like jumped by a man or something, that's not what happened. I jumped the man. I attacked the man. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you all about it. All right, are you ready to hear from me? Are you ready for it? I hope you're ready, because I'm gonna tell you about when I almost jumped a man. So this happened relatively early in my transition. I don't even know if I actually started transitioning yet or not. I honestly can't remember, but it was the summertime, okay? And I was at work. I used to work at a makeup counter, and I was there with my friend, and she was lovely. We're gonna call her Georgia. Her name was Georgia, all right? That's not her name, but we're gonna call her Georgia. And Georgia and I were talking, and we like to keep up with each other, you know. We were tight like this, okay? We were tight. And she was telling me about some trouble she was having because she's having to move now. And I asked her, you know, like, why do you have to move? And she said, well, I was living in my boyfriend's building, but we broke up. And I was like, oh shit. And it's not like she lived in the same building as her boyfriend. It's like the boyfriend's dad owned the building. So this guy was gonna be a dick about it, right? Basically, this guy had been harassing her and been like, oh, why don't we talk? Like, we can get back together. Like, I love you, I still love you and all this shit. And it's like, dude, stop. Quit it. Like, what are you doing? This is not what we want, okay? Like, if we break up with you, we want you to stop contacting us, thanks. So anyway, Georgia was having trouble with this ex-boyfriend harassing her about like getting back together in her building where she was living because his dad owned the building, and then he was like therefore entitled to going to her door and harassing her or something. It was a bunch of shit, right? So we were working, we were cleaning up and everything. We were like dusting and tidying and filling our lanes and stuff, right? And she looked at me and she's like, I think I just saw him. She thinks she just saw her ex-boyfriend who was harassing her at the place of work where I was employed, where she was at. Therefore, you know, common sense is gonna lead me to believe that maybe he's come here to harass her at work. And I was like, this is not gonna happen. Not when I'm around. This is not gonna happen when I'm here because I cannot tolerate it. 5 minutes later, this guy comes up and I'm like, he looks kind of shifty. He's wearing like a Bob's Food Basics uniform, and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, why are you wearing that? Like, here, like, what are you doing? And I, you know, maybe he was coming to pick up some cologne on his break or something. I wasn't judging him. I was just like, that's interesting. Like, I made note of it, okay? I made note of this guy in the Bob's Food Basics uniform. For those of you outside of Canada, Bob's Food Basics is like a grocery store. So I made note of this guy. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then I see him approach her and I'm like, this wouldn't be that person. She's surely got higher standards than this guy. And I'm not talking about his uniform. Like, I don't care where he works. I care, like, this guy did not. He was like, this woman is beautiful. She's like Kim Kardashian level gorgeous. And this guy was just looking kind of strange to me. And I'm like, this doesn't really add up to me. I wasn't comfortable with this anyway. I wasn't looking at this like, what a cute couple. I was like, this guy looks like he's gonna harass her. And I was right, because it was the ex-boyfriend. He had come to my place of work to harass my friend, and I was not gonna have it. I was like, no. So I was watching for a second, and I was like, that's surely not him. He doesn't have the balls to come up in my place of work and to harass my friend, right? So I just kind of get closer, I get a little bit closer, I'm like, I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna listen. And if I hear him say anything remotely like, please, or baby, or like, I don't know, like then I'd be like, hey dude, like, you gotta go, bruh, like, you gotta go. So I get a little bit closer and I'm listening, and like, for those of you that don't know, I'm deaf in one ear, so I'm like listening, I'm like, hi. Like, I'm not being subtle about it. I'm like looking at him and everything. I'm like, what are you talking about, right? And then I hear him say like, please. And I'm like, oh no. So I go up to him and I'm like, sir, if she's telling you to leave her alone, you need to leave her alone. You don't get to just be entitled. You don't get to just talk to her when she's like, leave me alone. Because she was saying that too. She was like, just leave me alone. And I'm like, leave her alone. And he was like, it's none of your business. And I'm like, it is my business. Because this is where I work. You gotta go, buddy. Like, I kicked him out of the store, right? I was like, you gotta go, you're leaving. Bye. And he was like, I'm not gonna leave. So I took a step. I was like, you're leaving, okay? You're leaving. And he was like, fine. And he looked mildly intimidated, and I don't know why, because I'm like a 5'2", like, I don't know, it's fine. Anyway, so he was like looking behind him as he was leaving like this, and I was like, You're not gonna like watch and see when I leave so you can go harass her again. So I started following him. I was like, you're leaving now, the door's that way. We're going that way, buddy, the door's over there. And he was like, he was like running a little bit faster, right? And then the shit hits the fan. So if you wanna know what happens when the shit hits the fan, you have to click on my whole face. There's an annotation on my whole face that will take you to Life Be Like TV, which is a collaboration channel between me and some other LGBT YouTubers that are telling stories to you. We're telling stories, okay? So if you want to see the ending, you gotta go over there. I know. Clicking my face is the hardest thing you'll do all day, but like, please, if you want to know what happens when this man tries to come for me, you gotta go over there, alright? You gotta go. It's okay, you can come back after, I promise. You can come back later, we can hang out some more. But if you wanna know what happens, you gotta go that way, okay? Thanks. So you bet your ass that this straight man, he turns around and he's like, you have no authority to kick me out. I'm just gonna keep going, I'm gonna come back. So he like takes a step. He takes a step forward.